I'm muted, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, and that's really, I can scream into that.
Yep.
I can, that's really good.
Yeah. It'll pick you up.
So we can't whisper.
Don't whisper, just talk in a normal voice.
Hey, we're gonna go ahead, as soon as George comes back, George took off.
Okay.
Yeah, get these to,
Yeah.
What do you need?
Right there, those papers there.
These?
Yeah, one of them. Let's see which ones. Okay, these extra. Okay, George has, okay, these one, all right, that's good. You.
this is updated.
Okay. Okay, is that,
You got it.
did you get this?
No, this is.
Yeah.
This is.
Okay.
There's some in the back of that.
Put that back there. Okay. This is, we have, I brought this. And we have this, into the hour.
I saw that online.
Yeah,
Because I
okay,
sent one.
right. But it hadn't been updated since 2016.
Oh, okay. well,
And
that-
so here's some extra,
Here, I'll give you the.
I basically took this,
Oh,
I
when
took
does that,
here, made changes that I knew.
By the way, I'm Jason.
Oh, I'm Nancy Bradley.
Nancy.
Nice to
I
meet
saw
you.
your name on the agenda, so I'm
Yeah, welcome.
thank you. I'll be the frosting. on that.
Okay. That'll work. But yeah, if you have any questions.
Okay.
I don't need this one. Yours now. And so we're waiting for George. I don't know, did he run? Where did he go? Just stay back. And then we'll convene once George comes. I'm sorry. I didn't know he took. I didn't know he went. Yeah, then I'll wait and I'll introduce you.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
This support.
Understood. Yep.
There it goes. We're waiting for you, George.
Sorry,
That's okay, no problem.
had my hand and I went looking for it.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. On the agenda, the first one is approval of the minutes. We do have 5, which is a quorum, so we can go ahead and have a meeting. We did not have that quorum at the last time. Those people that can vote on minutes are those people who are there before. And so George, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for September? Or Nancy?
I'll make my. Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? We just haven't agreed. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. We're gonna start off with our animal services report. Captain Purcell.
Go back here myself. Okay. So this wraps up 2024. I went back and there was a few that jacked up, was to do a while to figure out what all this stuff was. But the numbers should be right. You could look at the no, I left you a bunch. I left you a stack.
Yeah.
I can tell you where those things sit.
I'll
So if you look at the dogs real quick, so intake in November 417, December 400. Then you look at the euthanasias in November, December 135 and 97. Then the return to owner 119 and 116. The one thing I wanted to kind of highlight is when you look at the return to owner on dogs, we approached 30% in December, which is more than we typically do in that month. We would have expected to be about 20%, so I'm kind of leaning on the social media being the difference. It has been running higher October, November, December since we started that social media page. You could flip over the next page, the dogs and cats combined, but then you go back to the cats. You can see with the winter season, when the cat intakes drop off, 224 intakes for cats in November, 193 in December. Euthanasia rate 31 and 37, and the return to owner 11 and 4. Again, at the bottom is broken down, the reasons for each one of those euthanasias. The one bit that's everybody's focused on euthanasia rates. If you take out the dangerous dogs, the KBAs, and those cases of mercy euthanasia, in November, the rate's 4.8%. In December, it's 4.75, and that's for dogs. Looking at cats, it's cats is 2.23% and 1.52%. That's just what it takes for euthanasia, eliminating the dangerous, the KBA, and mercy cases.
I'm looking at the KDA numbers, are they dropping down on the dogs? I know they dropped down the cats because we don't have that many cats.
Yeah, the KDA numbers in dogs, so if you look at July, it's on the very first page. If you look at the numbers, the KDA numbers in July, there was 112 cases. August 91, September 78, October 70, November 63, December 35. So there's two things at play there. One, the intakes are dropping, so the populations are dropping similarly, and two, keeping on top of your capacity for care, making sure you have adequate space and you address disease at a time and manner. Decreases the number of animals getting sick, so it decreases your reliance.
I'm going to introduce Dr. Jason Albertson. He's our new board member. I should have done that before we started. This is George, Theo Harris, and Tricia Thompson. That's what I thought. And and so I'm just going to mention to you, to expand on this. KDA is required. Are you familiar with the KDA animals?
I have some familiarity with it, yes. I can't quote it verbatim. but-
Okay, but basically it's animals with contagious diseases that that they're not able to transfer.
Correct.
And hopefully that will change these days. It'll go, it will. Okay, are there any questions about the?
I have a question.
Okay.
How are the unhomed animals that are coming in and using the shelter, are they included in these numbers or where are those being reported?
That was in January, so that'll be in January.
Okay, but I mean, I guess my question is, how is that going to be reflected? Because it should be maybe congruent with, not combined with, because that's not really functioning. It was skewed data, in fact. It should be separate. It shouldn't be shown as an intake and then possibly that, I mean, it's outside of your normal duties, so.
Well, so if you can always get, you can get back to the point where we were with statistics before, we were way too fine, we were trying to do way too much. Because you have cases for dangerous dogs, or people coming in compliance with that, you have cases where people find themselves in a domestic violence situation, we take the dog in so they can seek help. And then, so yeah, so you're gonna have positive outcomes in those cases, but you can get too fine with the data, and that's not fine to do.
Or you're gonna have a category that will split that out,
What do you mean?
the intakes and outcomes that are associated with that program, so you can know how successful the program is if you don't keep track of it.
I will look, well, the program's not based on success or failure. The program is simply there to allow the homeless to seek shelter for themselves and alleviating their pet.
I think city council will know how many people are actually utilizing that, but I know the MAC is supposed to have kennels eventually, and they're looking at moving that hopefully to the left, getting those kennels at the MAC sooner. But I think they would be interested in seeing that.
But I'm not gonna do that here. I'm not gonna start breaking this out. We can report how many houses we get to or.
Okay, so city council would have to request that information if you, as far as how many.
Yeah, they want to know.
Okay, because it will skew the data and stuff, okay.
It's really good, it's
Aren't
Do
there
you know how
animals?
many has taken advantage of that anywhere? Like,
Aren't there animals that you take in for emergency boards, such as when someone's in an accident, you take the animal in, and that's not recorded either? Because it's not like an animal coming in that needs to go out someplace. It's just there being they're doing a nice free board of animals that are in a situation. And it's the same thing as an emergency for the, so that's been going on forever. Okay.
And when is your agenda, an extra agenda, or is just one agenda?
Oh, did you not?
No. No, I got everything else, but
And then over.
thank you.
Next up, this Drew Bessie, and he's gonna talk about your, and work, you handed out, can you talk about this a little bit to us?
Sure.
He's doing an update on the dog licensing update.
So the sheets that I handed you, the top one is bullet points. The second one is the page that would send out to all the vets. They let them know what's going on. Some of what's on the bullet points is also covered in that letter to the vets. There's gonna be a little bit of duplication here. But for the basic, the previous dog license form, three-part form is going away. It will not be used anymore. Finance will not have it printed or produce it, hand it out, anything like that. Going forward, the new license is primarily going to be the rabies certificate that the vet will give you. Or if the vet chooses to produce some type of a rabies certificate / license form that they can stamp to show that you did pay for your license at the vet, then the vets can do that, but producing or just providing the rabies certificate would be enough. And then the vets would, which they've already been doing, either writing on there, not paid or NP. So that way, if we come across the individual on a complaint, then we know that it was not paid at the clinic. And then we need to investigate whether or not they paid it to some other means, like going to the animal shelter or to licensing at City Hall. The fees have gone up as of January 1. They have gone from there's a floating scale depending on whether or not the animal was fixed, microchipped, whether or not you had a fenced-in yard. And now it's gone from anywhere from $15 to $46 to just $15 a year with an option to buy a 3-year license at $45 for an altered dog, or $50 for an unaltered with the option of $150 for a 3-year license. As far as the process going right now, the online renewals, which are already in place, that is still there and it's functioning properly. People will still go renew if they had already set up with licensing to pay for it and it provided the information of the vaccination to them. So you can still go renew there. The things that we're still working on are the new applications. That is not in place yet. They're still working on some of the programming. And we anticipate next week it being put into place. So, and that is barring any complications with the software provider. As long as they get everything done this week, it'll be rolled out next week. And that they will be providing documentation or instructions to the vet clinics on their clients that don't want to pay in the clinic, and they can go on how they can get that taken care of online, or they can go to the animal shelter or physically go to licensing at City Hall. The online registration for the vet clinics, same thing, it's still a work in progress. They are hoping to have all the proposed changes done by the end of this week. And then they want to roll it out to us for testing next week. If everything goes well, then we're hoping the following week that it will get sent to the vet clinics along with instructions on how to process those. As far as payment, we're utilizing a e-check payment, and that'll be for pretty much across the board. I want to do renewals, new application, even the vets can do it where they collect the fees and they basically pay for it all in one batch. Vet clinics will have an option to pay by credit card. And like I said before, dog owners, they are able to purchase their licenses at city licensing downtown. Both providing with Maine, first floor licensing office, or they can come out here to the animal shelter and we can process it.
Since you're a veterinarian.
Well, I've been in situations where we collected the money there at the clinic, and currently we do not, we put the onus on the owner. You know, as far as, credit card payments, I mean, we always use credit cards for everything at the clinic, so that's nice to have that available still. You know, the e-checks, I mean, I can't imagine that would be, either one of those would present any problems with most clinics.
Well, that was one of the things that we looked at was, making it easier for veterinarians to get stuff,
I guess the question would be, does the board prefer the collection of the fees at the hospital versus having the pet owner?
I think we discussed that in the subcommittee that we had, and it is less likely that the owner is going to do that than it is done at the time of register. So it decreases the number.
I will tell you that most veterinarians are so busy and their staff are so busy doing their own thing that adding another layer of that just puts an added amount of pressure on those, and we're not being compensated for that. So that's always kind of been I'm happy to do it if it's our public service. However, we're busy and stressed and all to the max, just like everybody else is these days. So
Drew, can you talk about what we are trying to do is make it very easy for you guys to do that. So it's just
I mean, I'm not sure what the incentive for the veterinarian would be to do that.
Or you could always encourage the people to try it if it's maybe the first time you're doing it.
I know that my veterinarian just charges like $1 or $2 when she does that. It's just
Yeah, so yeah, right, that kind of a processing fee, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, if they wish to do that, I think that's perfectly okay, because that probably starts to pay for the additional time.
what is the program going to look at?
We discussed it, and it is an option, but if that wants to charge some type of a processing fee on top of the license, then you can do that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it would try to incorporate or include as many options as possible.
And my clients,
Make it as easy as possible.
I think my clients, they expect to have to pay some, at least at my location.
Yeah.
So I don't know what those numbers are. You could ever figure out the percentage of folks that pay versus those that don't. Oftentimes I get asked, well, what happens if I don't? Well, you could be levied a fine that would be significant if that was, it's loose and is now, collected and brought to the animal shelter, in that 20% that they fine their owners.
Well, before when we had the little license tag, the little license forms, did you fill those out, the 3-part license?
So 3-part, yeah, we did.
Okay, then usually the blue form is sent to the city,
Mhm.
and then the city can pick that up. What is it going to look like without that blue form to be sent to the city?
that would just print off the rabies certificate, mail it in. So that would be the notification that they got the rabies shot.
And that's so easy for us, is to print off the, you know, if they want an additional rabies certificate indicating that they're gonna mail that in and take care of their fee that way.
Okay,
If they do it online, can they upload the rate certificate or how do they prove? Okay,
Yeah, that's gonna be part of the batch, the bulk batches that you can do.
what about an
It's
individual?
not necessarily just to report that you collected the license itself, you can also, you know, just basically upload all those rabies certificates of animals that, of dogs that were vaccinated for rabies, but they did not pay for their city license. So then that way licensing will put them into the system, and then a mail will be sent that says, hey, you need your dog license.
Okay,
Yeah.
so an individual can't upload the copy of the rabies
Yeah,
certificate,
we
it will come from the vet.
They can, if they're
They can.
going, if they're gonna do a new application.
Okay.
They're going to, scan it in, take a picture, there's a lot of different options.
Okay,
And then pay for the license at that time.
Ellen, so if the vet does it, you're saying that they could charge. What, $1 or $2, $5 or $10, $20 or $50? I
probably
think,
just processing fees, usually
Yeah.
$1 or $2.
Our clients will only, they're more savvy than that. If you levy them a $20 fee, they're gonna go with their feet, you know. Even no matter how good they like you. Cause they see that as.
so
the
2 to 5 is an appropriate number, maybe?
no, my veterinarian.
One
I
to
think
one to
just-
two
yeah,
is
one to
just,
two.
just enough to make it
But
a
it's,
little bit
it's
more.
up to the individual veterinarian. It's not something that anyone
Yeah,
says.
so
The
you're not
veterinarian
gonna
says
set that.
No,
And if you- if
They
you
can't
want-
put a recommendation out there either?
I would say that would
They
be,
can't, because their operating costs may be different for each clinic.
that would not look good.
What would not look good?
Recommended.
Or having a recommendation like a,
Oh, no,
yeah, I don't think
let the
that.
veterinarians make that decision.
Yeah.
For their clinic.
Yeah, but we will have to answer for even $1 or $2 to some folks, so.
But I know that when I go in and say, I say, oh, take care of it, because I'll forget about it.
Some folks do, but others are looking at their invoice and they're going, "Hmm."
I know.
And then they'll associate the fee with me, you know, so. I try to make that separate, just so that they understand it's a separate issue than their veterinary care.
It's there.
I understand this, I understand the city's position, but, you know, as a business owner, I have to fight pretty hard for what I got.
I think, go ahead.
So individuals cannot, so like if I brought my dog and he did the rabies. And I wanted you to go ahead and file it, I'm happy to pay that $2 fee or whatever,
Mhm.
but wouldn't it make it easier if we could give you a card to pay that fee? So that way you're not responsible for our fee, but we pay it at the same time that we fill out the license. So we gotta pay
That's
that
what,
anyway.
that's what.
You know, and then that fee would also cover the credit card fees
Yeah,
that
right.
we would have to pay.
Right, which is what I would suggest you do. Instead of you having to pay it and pay us a fee, we just, because debit cards are cheaper than credit cards.
Debit cards, and not everybody has a debit.
No, but
No, but most people do.
most people do anymore, because everything's so digital. And I'm just saying, maybe we need to make the individual at the time. When they're getting the rabies done and then getting their license, we just pay right there.
And people, I think what we're looking at is that we're giving the veterinarian the option to do whatever they want to do for the best for their clinic, and I think that's what we need to, we can't say to the veterinarian, you have to.
No.
So, and so they, you know,
Yeah, no, that's what
But you
you
can
mean,
all-
I think
Yeah.
they can make the option to them, hey, if you wanna, while you're paying your bill here, if you want us to run your card for the vet, we can put for the city license, we can do that. That's gonna help you because more people are gonna get paid. Than to walk out and they're saying, oh, well, we all procrastinate, right? So I'll do this in a couple months and then pretty soon the city's having to send out reminders. Just because I've done it, I know.
I know, the same way, that's why I let my veterinarian do it.
They're still, God, I didn't get my pink postcard.
And that's something that's, I have to tell you, I have not gotten any pink reminder cards. Do you get those at your clinic?
I haven't seen one for a long time.
They used to go out to clinics and now they're not doing that. So
Well,
that's
they used to bring that in and say, I want to take care of it,
Okay.
but I haven't seen anybody bring one.
Yeah, I did get
So I guess what I'm asking is, when you set this up with these vets, can you set it up so we can just pay at the time that we're there? Yeah, that we run the card through you, but not have to go through.
Yeah, if the vet wants to, they can collect the fee. And then turn around and reimburse or give it to the city.
A lot of,
For the rating.
so let's say a lot of the older established veterinary hospitals that have been around for a while still do it that way.
Mine is.
But you can't, if you're asking, can the credit card go to the city instead of going through them, then it has to go to the vet and then the vet has to.
Yeah. You pay us and then we pay the city.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to get you out of the middle of that.
There's no way to do that.
Unless the owner does it on themselves.
Yes,
Right.
that's kind of how we've tried to just make the owner responsible, but we know how, that sometimes that doesn't work.
Any other questions? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go to the public comment. I've got Diana Tedrock and Conley Reese. Which one, Diana, you're first, so you get to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So first of all, I wanted to introduce myself to some of the new members. My name is Diana Tedlock. And my goal is to bring awareness and drive both accountability and transparency in the hopes of betterments that will increase the positive outcomes at the shelter. So KHS stated in a recent meeting, last week, that they had backed off bringing awareness on the KDA regulation issues at the state level due to some individuals' response. So I just want to put this out there. It is not my goal or my responsibility to regulate how others react to or respond to data-driven information. But to not bring awareness for needed change or to back off from doing so because you can't regulate others' response and speech is unconscionable. Since we have new members on the board, I've been asked to share some of the historic trend analysis of the euthanasia rates at WASP. So in the interest of time, I'm going to focus on dog statistics versus dog and cat. WASP went from a no-kill shelter for almost a decade, less than a 10% euthanasia rate, to a high-kill facility in less than a 6-month time span, the last half of 2023. December of 2023, the euthanasia rate at WASP was 24% for dogs, well before any impact from the KDA regulations. In 2024, more dogs were euthanized than over the previous 4 years combined. And it's 3 times the amount for cats. The dog intakes in 2024 were approximately 218 less than the 2022-23 average of intakes. What needs to be looked at is what happened the last half of 2023 and what changed the trajectory of the shelter into a tailspin. And 2 of the major changes, one was the implementation of the WASP and KHS contracts that infringe upon the First Amendment rights and that alienated many rescues from wanting to work with either facility. And then the adoption of the care capacity philosophy. I'll send all of you the historical trend data. I have it back to 2013, as well as I'll send the contracts to all the board members so you have them to review for your records. And then also, I'm not for sure how many of you on the board has a copy of the report from the KSU shelter, the med consultation report performed in 2024. This is a document each of you should get, review, and share with your city council representative. My core request to obtain a copy of the report is being discretionarily withheld. But in an email from Aaron Walker to City Council in 24 and to others, he discusses lack of funding as an issue at the shelter, going on further to state, a perfect example of this can be seen in the KSU shelter med consultation that was performed earlier this year. When they visited WASP, they noted severe deficiencies in the level of care provided, noting that in many ways the level does not meet minimal standards for humane care that is required to have an animal shelter license. This information as a board member should be readily available to each of you, and if not, that's telling and concerning. You guys have the ear of the city council who has the first strings to implement things that need to be implemented. So you guys need to know this information so you can promote it and let your city council people know what's going on and what is needed. Also, I guess, call to actions, there's things on the website and the Facebook page, and there's two websites, there's the animal shelter website, and then there's the .gov website. But there's things on there we really should have updated because the community doesn't know. Last time, Ellen, we talked about, you said, oh, we already have this, the friendly finder process that I mentioned that, you know, where if somebody finds a pet, they can keep it themselves and advertise it, kind of like Kansas Pet Project's done. And you said, oh, well, we can already do that, but that's not out there anywhere for people to know that and what that process is, that you have to hold it for 30 days, you have to put it here. Also, there's a wish list on the animal shelter site, but the link's not working. You click on it and Amazon says can't find it. The unhome pet care information should be out there. The reclaim fees should be out there. The documents to bring in when you're reclaiming an animal, or proof of ownership or rabies documentation, so the fees are dropped. All that needs to be out there on all these sites for the public to know. The mandatory chip requirement should be out there, a list maybe of resources. The active current lost found pages, which I gave back to Purcell in November, I did an analysis. Some of them referenced on the site aren't even active anymore. And so I looked at the ones, their memberships and which ones were greatest and provided that to him back on November 1st. But those, so what's there is outdated. It should reference.
Your time is up, so go ahead, just.
Yeah, so just things like that we can do that are quick, low hanging fruit, shouldn't be much effort. License fees is another example of things that should be out there. We just need to have data for the community. Thank you.
The next person, Conley.
So, first of all, I don't do this for fun. And I'd much rather be somewhere else, doing something else. But continuously, daily, I'm still getting information from citizens that are having problems with our current system and when they deal with Wichita Animal Shelter. And so one of them, again, was chipping. There was once again a dog brought in. 24 hours later, the dog had not been, or owners had not been contacted. When you looked at 24 Pet Connect, it didn't show that it was a chip dog. Usually you can click on it and it'll show the name. It wasn't there. I happened to recognize the dog as I was going through 24 and I looked, was able to contact the owner and let them know their dog was here at the shelter. And also was able to find out because Amy Hartman, and I believe she's going to talk to you, Derek, about this, but Amy Hartman had actually chipped it. And so we verified that the phone number of the owner was accurate. It's the number I used to call her and it was the number on the chip, but still no phone call. So we're still seeing this. I don't know the majority of them. There was another dog that went in yesterday that I know had a chip and I was told, no, none of them were chipped. I verified the chip number and the dog was chipped. So we still have a problem. I think part of it maybe the scanners. I know I was told by Amy once again, she used the scanner and you have to sit there and hold the button down on them. And I don't know what the issue is. I use a chip scanner. I don't seem to have problems with it, but it's something that needs addressed. I know last time we were told that all of the vans had chip readers on them. Don't know that that has been reconciled and they do now, but they need them. And need ones that are accurate, and maybe need more training, and then need the follow-up. I did find out that dog that the owner never got called, they did have the chip information, they put it in the system, but it wasn't in the system to be on 24 Pet Connect. It actually didn't show us the name, which is a quick way for us to kind of help get owners their dogs back too. And so with that, there was another fail. With follow-up. So some kind of system needs to be put in place. Okay. Oh, we also had, I know we keep saying the cat numbers have gone down. I know of instances where they've refused to take cats. And that one of it happened Sunday. So
They were close to cat.
they were close to cat intakes was what they were told, and it was told by somebody that definitely can trust and understands the system. So I'm not sure what that was about, but that was what a citizen coming into the Wichita Animal Shelter, unneutered male cat, were close to cat intakes. But every single day, I'm still getting barraged with how difficult it is. You never know the mood of the person you're dealing with. And once again, it just, we're hearing it constantly. There's so many issues. I can't even go over all of them. But those two are some of the highlights. Do you have anything else?
Well, then,
Oh, I do also, do you guys have, as an advisory board, do you guys get I can't find the words now. The standard operating procedures of loss. Because we've asked for those to move fast and we don't have them, but as a board, do you guys have the standing operating procedures at the Wichita Animal Shelter? Or are they available?
I think they're available if we ask for it. I don't know if I've gotten them. I know what the basics are.
Are they available to citizens?
I don't know. I'm sure.
And then, once again, just rescues being able to get information to go ahead and the dogs that KHS doesn't take in. If there's any way that we can improve that. The website, the Facebook site has helped us because sometimes the intake pictures are so bad that we are now going from the intake pictures, then we're trying to verify which dog that matches up with, and then we're trying to help connect dogs with owners too. There's still a lot of owners that are kind of clueless.
Don't you have a lot though too that have chip that don't want that? You see it all.
Well, there's a lot of chips that are not updated. There are chips that aren't updated, but I'm talking about dogs that had chips that information was updated on and owners were not told. I'm talking about them, because we found the owners.
And Trills just still being.
Yeah.
utilized.
It's just kind of.
We have an average of 100, almost 200 animals, and I think 13 are on Trill.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are things that we'll look into, okay? All right. Now then, let's go on to new business. Oh, I guess I'm first up. The loss of the postal service, postal delivery due to dogs. This was brought to my attention. And there are some people here that want to speak on it. The agenda item is that we have an issue with the post office. If there's a dog sitting out, that's, I guess, the post office, all they have to do is see a dog loose. The dog doesn't have to be close to them. It doesn't have to have, do anything in that contact with them. But if they see a dog that's loose, they're supposed to do a loose dog. But that's your first warning that there's a loose dog. And supposedly they're supposed to then contact the Wichita Animal Shelter to report the dog running at large. Then I guess they're supposed to do 1, 2, 3 times, unless it's an attack. An attack would be like a dog would bite someone, then that's a different situation. And we've had some issues with some people losing their mail and not realizing that it was one person on the block, but then the whole, maybe 1 or 2 blocks can lose their mail at their door, wait, and then have a communal or cluster box put at the end of someone's street, or sometimes in someone's yard that they have to go to. And there's been some concerns. This is not the first time that I have dealt with it. George, you and I met with the postal system postmaster. And do you want to talk about that a little bit, or do you want me to talk about it?
Well, this has been going on since 2013, and I got a bunch of the players together, the mayors, the city council, county commission, the chief of police, and the postal service. They're just like this picture kind of shows, even though that's not what it's talking about. They haven't been listening to us. They really haven't, and they're up here, they're the US government, and we're state, city or county. So, yeah, we've been beating our heads against the wall. But when they make a decision, it's their decision and they don't go backwards. And we're talking about the one, and you guys can talk about here in a little bit, the College Hill. We had one in our neighborhood, it was a husky. And it wasn't biting anyone, it wasn't dangerous, but because it was out running around, 33 boxes went to the street. What's funny about that, the rental house, it's a house, they're the only ones that don't have a box at the street. I don't know what they're doing for mail, but they're the ones who caused the problem. So it's been a struggle. I'm over here in 3 neighborhoods that low income and stuff, but now they're attacking College Hill, and there's some judges and lawyers and doctors in there. So I think they may get something done. I really do, finally. And I heard our senator is looking at some stuff. So I think there's help coming. So I'll leave it at that before I get myself in trouble.
According to the news last week, that they to the story on, there's 2 trees. One of them got a warning and one of them didn't.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
And so. I think, were you on the news?
Yeah.
Okay.
They came to speak about this, and so, would you like to start off and talk?
Yeah, and feel so bad that I've got my back to you guys, and I sort of,
You can,
I'm loud, so you'll hear me for sure. Do you want me near a mic? Where do you
why
want?
don't you just sit over here and then you can see everybody, you know.
Okay, you want me sitting versus
And
standing?
yeah, and I think the mic is good about picking it up, aren't they? Because usually people would say I was talking too loud.
Okay, so my name is Trish Heilman, and I'm the Vice President of College Hill Neighbor Association. I'm also the president, just got president of Wichita Independent Neighborhood. So trying to sort of serve as a holder of information and a advocate voice for any and all neighborhoods, but also working with our neighborhood to try and be effective advocates. And I guess I wanted to start, thank you guys. Thank you for helping to keep Wichita safe, because we really get it. We get that this was a dog owner who wasn't following the rules. And I've talked with my neighbor. I use my nice voice. But she was actually unaware of what the actual ordinance was. So, and Ellen's told me many times, ignorance is no excuse, Trish. True. But it sure helps to do the right thing when you know what the right thing is. So I've got the letters that the post office sent to the neighbor. It doesn't actually specify the ordinance and what on a leash, on a chain, behind a fence. Girlfriend, that's the only way you're legal. And so that's literally the conversation I had with her. So, and she's like, but I don't have a vicious breed. No, it doesn't matter. So she got some education, but according to the procedures that we've understood from USPS, they didn't follow their procedure. And there's a couple things as we're looking at it as neighbors that we can maybe encourage you guys to join with them. It's not your responsibility because the main issue is honestly USPS. So we're here to say thank you, and you guys are awesome, and you're keeping us safe, and we appreciate it. But also, you know, easy things could get changed that might help. So also here for that feedback. The postal carrier, the dog was out. Dog was, I think, like out playing with the kids, but postal carrier, that's not the ordinance, and the postal carrier was nervous or however they felt. And depending on the papers you see, it says one thing or another. So in June, the carrier put in an animal interruption form at the USPS. So the homeowner got a very nice letter going, oopsie, you know, I mean, it was really sort of a nice hand-holding letter saying, oopsie, you messed up, your animal was not in control. But again, it didn't refer to an ordinance. That's sort of our first suggestion is, can the WPD, I mean, y'all, give flyers to USPS that every time they send out one of these letters, it's got 2 pieces of paper. One from USPS, one from animal control, educating us to the ordinance. So it shouldn't cost y'all anymore, because everybody's trying to pinch a penny. It doesn't cost post office anymore. Just to put 2 pieces of paper there, and that in and of itself would have actually helped this homeowner get her. I guess I'm not gonna say that, she would get her stuff together and know what she was dealing with, right? So, that would have helped big time. So the second time, Fluffy, it's a chocolate lab, it's not Fluffy, but Fluffy was out. It's the postal carrier did an animal interruption form. And the postal carrier then followed it up with a report to you guys. That's the only report that was made to y'all. So, and that was a roaming dog report. So no attack. And attack, by the way, we learned so much in these processes. So attack doesn't just mean by, you know this, but I had to learn. It could be any kind of movement towards a postal carrier, and an attack is really sort of subjective for the postal carrier's attitude, right? If I am the nervous Nelly about dogs, then a dog just sauntering, I feel attacked, and that is an attack. So what the postal carrier feels is aggressive behavior, and I'm not blaming postal carriers either. Love postal carriers, yeah, keeping them safe is the thing. They need to do the owners need to keep the dog on the chain, behind the fence, absolutely, 100%, we agree with you. We agree with the post office, but we're trying to fix the process so that we're not having what we ended up with, which was November 27th. We understand the dog went off the property after the carrier, whether that was aggressively or sauntering or whatever, again, doesn't matter. Dog was in the wrong, owner was in the wrong, let's, sorry, be clear, right? And then that was November 27th, no, December 3rd, all the neighbors in that swing got a letter saying, you're no more mail. The neighbors had received zero communication from anyone, USPS, y'all, and again, I'm not blame, there's a process improvement we could do. When there's an animal control report that's associated with this kind of stuff, or maybe any, us neighbors need to know too. Because our kids walk the streets, we need to know if the homeowner, if our neighbor is behaving irresponsibly, so we can coach and encourage safety in our neighborhoods.
We see the dog out, because I know the post office does not want to share names, and you don't want like us bullying that neighbor in any way, but I know that if we were aware that this could happen, which we were blindsided. I'm Holly Yeager and I live on the block that the mail is now not coming to our house, and I actually hadn't seen the dog out ever. I walk my dog through the neighborhood, so it's a very safe neighborhood, and when we heard of this, it was just through that, no warning, tomorrow we'll get mail starting tomorrow. And so then we came to find out a couple weeks later then actually that the street over got a warning from the post office. So we weren't given a warning in any way, but another block got a warning, so to me, that's where we're in not following the process. But if there's any way that we could work with animal control post office, just like educating, right? That when you get one of these letters, this is what can happen. I mean, now I have a dog, I love dogs, and I would be very, anyway, I would have helped this neighbor, even if I was like, oh my gosh, Lonnie, this dog's out. Do you need any help fixing your door, or why the dog is out? Or, like, even if I didn't know that was the dog that was out, because if we were aware of this to begin with, we could have worked as a neighborhood. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't totally.
No, that's why we're here together.
Yeah.
The other thing is, not every neighborhood in Wichita, maybe not even most anymore, have neighbor associations. But the city has a list that has neighbors, so if you're doing the animal control report, again, process improvement, send that animal control, and then again, we don't need to out our addresses, but you can say, hey, this area's got a little bit of an issue, heads up, because what we did, and the neighbors all knew, right? The neighbors knew what was going on, and
I actually did not.
okay.
Oh, we know.
So some neighbors knew, and pretty soon the neighborhood association knew. Yes, so I reached out, because I've never met a person that I won't have a cold call with, and so I reached out to this neighbor and just said, hey, here's the deal, here's the situation. And said, what do you need to keep your dog in? I mean, let's help you fixed this, right? And it turns out they had a storm door that was broken, the dog was pushing out the latch, so is that fixed now? You know, I mean, just following up with all the things, so, but again, if the neighborhood association, so there's three pieces, one. Flyer that goes in with every piece of USPS warning mail saying you're about to get dinged, educating as to the ordinance. Two, a flyer or a thingy that can go in mailboxes for that swing that's about to get dinged, saying you're about to get dinged, and whether that's you or USPS, I don't know, but again, educating to that ordinance. And then also that the neighborhood association would get a notification that you got an up and coming hot issue. Those are our three sort of suggestions on process improvement that involve y'all maybe. And yeah, we're advocating and we're using our sweet voice, because that's how you can, you know, ask people to change their mind. If you don't, you know, that we're trying real hard not to get ugly, because this is tough, this has been tough on neighbors. Finding out December 3rd, right in the holiday season, that you gotta go to Munger 8 to 5 and stand in line and wait for your mail. Stinking. So, we wanna just try and help keep everybody safe. Y'all, our citizens, carriers, but also increase communication and effectiveness and education so that we minimize.
I guess the question I would have here is, I'm not sure what effect the city's gonna have on the US government. And I understand what you're thinking, but we could, you know, call and say, hey, could you do this? That doesn't mean that we're gonna do that.
Right, and we're not asking for you, that's not how we're asking for you to engage, because we're talking to Moran's office.
If you put a flyer to every home in Wichita, that's gonna
Yeah, no.
Keep talking about the flyers on the warnings that are. getting-
On the board,
Yes.
like, sit at the bottom,
So
so say
they-
like, here's the.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, like I've met with the post office, I've met with every manager in every single office, I've been very diligent to explain. This is what an attack is, this is what a bite is, they have their own dedicated number to us.
Yes.
They know the difference between running at large and an attack, and the last conversation we had was, I had two dogs, they had, the post office, post order an attack by. We went and put the stipulations on the ownership of the animal, just as it would be states. But then we went forward, the two postal workers didn't show up, so all the stipulations were removed, the dog went back to the house with no stipulations and such, so. There was a problem with follow through in those cases, and they were working to try to figure out how they would address that issue. That was, gosh, dang it, that was right before I left the spring, so I haven't talked to them back, so I'm not sure. Who's all everywhere now, but I was.
Well, and we're just to be clear, I'm communicating with Heinrich, Susan Hutchinson, and she's maybe postmaster, I don't know everybody's title. But she's meeting with me next week, so I mean, we're trying on that side, we're trying to do our thing and we're not asking you guys to like take over for us and fix our problem. We're doing the advocacy, right? We're trying to.
Share that invite with me if you want me to go, I have no problem going and sitting down, because I've done it in the past.
Maybe right now she said just you and me, so I'm trying to get her to widen it to Holly too, since she's impacted, but I'm gonna be, you know, again, we're using our sweet voice, appreciate it, yeah, thank you.
I got a question, if I can. You said something about the dog has to be on a leash or a rope or something in the front yard. Do you guys, they come on up to your house, they're delivering mail at your house, is that correct?
Most cases, yes.
Oh, they were?
This homeowner was put a mailbox on after the second warning, they were told you've got to put a box at the curb. You know, to keep probably a carrier from having to go on property. And they did that, so the homeowner sort of thought they were doing what the postal service was asking for. And what she didn't get the full message in was that she was
Getting out past the
having the
gate.
dog out at all, regardless of how sweet and cuddly her furry is.
Mhm.
That's still breaking the rules. That's still putting her neighbors at risk for losing their mail, and she is well clear now, she really gets it. But it's too late for that initial boom, right, of no service.
I think that you had some concerns about the fact that perhaps they didn't follow some regulations of making 3 contacts with animal services. And have
Yeah,
animal
there was
services
one,
go out.
there was one animal control.
And
Yeah, and it was just a run at large, so.
Right, yes.
And it was just a run at large, which is a different response than if somebody's actually.
So that's the absurd thing. Just so.
I,
We have a lot of.
That's part of our issue, and again, it's not with you, you've done your job. Well, and you've still done your job, but the homeowner said they had no contact with animal control. And I heard that y'all put a poster, yeah, I know this, sorry, I'm not using the right words, on her storm door or whatever. But it was August. August in Kansas, a little windy, so I don't know, she says she didn't receive it now, could a kid have pulled it off and thought it was an advertisement, could a husband pulled it off, I mean. And still, right, you can only do what you do, however. There was only one report, there were not three, and there were 0 attack reports, and attack is what we're getting. Nailed with in the reason that they're losing their man, right, and so that's what we're advocating to you as PS about. So we're saying, hey, the process that you lined and you told us verbally was not followed.
We're good, I'm good, I'm not gonna pass the buck, like, we're responsibility by and fine there. But that's what I was getting on, with the run at large, like, the severity is less, and so that's where you would push the notice to move on, because the dogs out, that's, and it's not attacking, but it's not, you know, it's not for the worst case.
You're not gonna make sure that contact is made with the.
Yeah, but maybe.
You're not threatening to euthanize a dog when it's an at-large, but if somebody's taking a chunk out of somebody,
Yeah.
then that's a different situation.
Maybe during post out, it's just. Around the large.
Well, and see, again, the post office has told us firmly, without the sweet voice, that what happened when the postal carrier felt threatened by a dog approaching them was an attack. For them, that was an attack, and that's the way they define it. So, and that was our FYI, right? I mean, now we know, we learn a lot in these processes, but again, what if one carrier, if the normal route carrier has a relationship with the dog, doesn't at all feel that that's an attack, and then another carrier is, yeah, it was a substitute carrier, feels, and then part of the issue that I'm addressing with USPS is then maybe the person who's super nervous around dogs shouldn't be doing the walking routes. Okay, maybe that should be a driving, but that's not my call, I get that, but I'm just sort of saying, but please don't make us accountable for your process.
And the block that got the warning, that postal carrier doesn't have a problem with the dog. But our block that lost the mail was the subcarrier. Anyway, so it's just this whole, and I don't know that they knew that we have friends on the other block, but we're gonna let us know that they got a warning and we didn't. No, anyway, so we all talk, we did, and it's everything, and we're hoping that we can help other neighborhoods as well. That may not have the communication we do between blocks to know what steps we can help.
okay, I think that, the one thing that in talking to you and you visiting with me was that, when I talked to, Drew about this, that they only had one report, from the post office, and I think I was spoken with Captain Purcell about the fact that if a hot call comes in from the post office, that they make sure that they contact the person and send them a notice regardless of what it is. And perhaps when you talk to the postmaster, you can say, hey, look, would you whenever you put out one of these notices, would you just put out a notice similar to it to the whole neighborhood? And that's something that they could do, or something that maybe
And attach that word.
which side shelter could provide, PDs could provide. Let me know.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, and thank you for your service. It's pretty dang vital, so and it's such hard work.
But I would encourage you to let him know that Captain Purcell is and would be interested in meeting with you, okay? Because I think that.
Yeah, I will.
That way.
They used to affect their. But which I was on back.
I guess I have a question for you specifically. Do you have a copy of their policies? And because I've asked again and again and again. Okay, I got sort of the verbal edition. Anyway, so it's just one of those, in order to say, here's where you didn't do the thing, here, let me show you, where. Then it's helpful to have a legit channels copy of that, we've asked for it, of course, but, yeah, I'm really excited about, their actually meeting with us in person, so it's been a little bit of.
Okay, perhaps, Captain Purcell, if they don't want to meet with anyone but the homeowners, could you, give her a letter that says you only got, and I don't know if you're able to do this, that you only got one call or not?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear everything. I talked to everybody. I said, I'll reach out to them again. There's no issues there.
She was saying, will you provide me a letter that says in this 3 incidences, there was only one animal control sightage or whatever?
Oh, I can tell you there's one.
Well, I know, but can you give me a piece of paper? Because pieces of paper make me feel so official.
Yeah, we can.
That might help, that might help, okay. Well, we hope that,
as far as trying to get information, thought about contacting the federal.
Oh, yes,
Yes, we're.
all up in there.
Okay.
Yep.
You didn't mention that, so.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, we contacted Moran and Marshall and Estes and,
Okay.
plus all the city council, say again?
I Googled it about how the post office deals with animals, and it said that social service officials request that you keep your dog restrained or inside when the animal is away.
Right, no, it doesn't refer to like
Wichita
Wichita
ordinance.
ordinance, yeah, no, yeah.
Right, but, and also you were mentioning about the leash law. If you're gonna be a responsible pet owner, then you need to know these.
Agree with you.
Looking that up, agree.
Agreed, and one of the things, I guess the county may have different laws, and if people are moving from one place to the other, they may think they know. But that's again, where education is empowerment, and I've sure learned a lot, so, we're set and ready to help other neighbors that might need that, education and empowerment, so.
this may be something that, the, Facebook page, the Wichita Animal Shelter Facebook page may put on and address. And let people know, because I think people are starting to look at that Facebook page and it's getting a more attention, so that's something that maybe the Facebook page could adjust.
And we'd love that, because to be honest, any extra sort of. Not, again, use my sweet voice, but any extra attention and pressure that comes will benefit us in getting them to work with us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Let's go on to George, next item on the agenda, George, procedures on dogs and cats hit by cars, and I was amazed at what you found out.
So this lady on next door, I don't use Facebook because I don't have any friends. At Facebook, I guess you have to have friends. And my wife, I guess, she keeps trying to be friend on there and I keep denying it. But anyhow, I think it's her, it's Janet. So, but anyhow, so I look at next door. So someone on next door said that, oh, they were driving and they saw a cat in the road and it had been hit and it was dead. And she was very upset. Like, oh, the POS, I'm not really sure what that means. Position. No, that's not what it means. But anyhow, she went on to say that, that these people were so bad because they hit this cat or whatever. Luckily, I'm 67 years old. I've never hit a cat, dog, squirrel, knock on wood. But I did hit 3 birds on the way to Sturgis one time because they didn't fly off until I was on top of them. They're supposed to fly off when they hear me coming, but that's the only thing I've ever hit. So I didn't even really know what to do. I mean, if I hit a cat or dog, I'm not going to go door to door, especially if it was in the wintertime, or even in the middle of summer. I don't care. I'm not going door to door, knocking on doors. Hey, I just hit Fluffy here. I hit your cat or dog, or there's a dog here. Is it yours? No, they may be real upset. And no, it's not so I called up Jen Jarman, who's our city legal, and I was hoping she'd be here, and asked her, I said, hey, what do you do? So she sent me the ordinance on it, and the ordinance pretty much says, I mean, you don't have to go out and do mouth to mouth or anything, but you should call the police, and they will send it to animal services or whatever. And there's been said that if there's a cat or a dog or any animal, honestly, in the road that you guys have been like 100% on me. If we turn it in before she gets the little notice, you gotta have a lady that goes out and gets all the dead animals. Correct? That someone has called in and some lady's got a contract to go get those, correct?
He said, yes, we have a contract, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I was looking at these two. I thought you guys were ventriloquists. I was asking those two, but but anyhow, anyone could have answered. So anyhow, so that's what would happen. If the dog, you're supposed to call the police and police will call you guys and say, hey, and I guess put it on the list. So, but that's pretty much all you have to do. I mean, you don't have to go door to door. I mean, I don't even know if it's maimed. I don't even know. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, you don't have to pick it up and put it in your car if it's bleeding and stuff. I don't know. So I asked her. She said that's the only requirement you have. So we asked her some more questions, follow-on questions. I haven't got any of those answers. So if you have any more questions about that, feel free to send them to us and I'll see if Jan can answer them because some of them are just, it just depends kind of thing. So, but I wanted to answer because I didn't know. I haven't had the misfortune of hitting a cat or dog or anything other than those 3 birds. So I didn't know. So.
Thank you for that information. Next up is staffing changes at the Wichita Animal Shelter, and I don't know, I was not aware of this. When they changed full-time, when they changed the part-time kennel techs to full-time kennel techs, they dropped the number down. And we used to have, we got the number raised up to 9 for the kennel techs, and now that's back down to 4. Is that correct, Captain?
Yeah, we're so. We had 9 part-time kennel techs, they changed to full-time, they changed it to 4 full-time. We had 1 part-time that held over, so we have 1 part-time and 3 full-time.
And my concern, and I think the board needs to address this issues, I had no idea. I thought that they would make the techs full-time. The reason that we went up to 9 was because usually having 2, you should have probably 3 kennel techs in the morning, correct? Per cell. How many, I mean, like, did you have, at one time in the morning, you had 4 part-time techs, right?
Yeah, so with
Each
4
day.
full-time, we should have 2 to 3 on any given day.
Okay, 2 to 3.
But that doesn't take into consideration vacation time, sick time, holidays, so it's probably gonna be really down.
So I think the city was using it, and this is the concern that I have, is that they said, oh, well, we don't need to increase, we'll just decrease, and and it needs to not be decreased, okay? So I think that we should take a thought or a stance to say, what you did was make it sound good, but it made it just basically worse, because if now they've only got 2 and they lose 1, then they're still in the same boat it was when they had just 4 part-time. And I guess I'm gonna do this, I would like to make a motion that we as a board suggest, or that we suggest that they need to increase the full-time techs to at least 6 full-time techs. Would that help you if we could encourage the city to increase and give you 2 more full-time techs?
Yeah, more staffing in the shelter is always gonna increase the capacity for care. So the more staff I've got that I can dedicate to more animals, I can.
I have a question for you. What is the average population in those kennels on an average day?
Yeah, we're currently at about 150.
So you've got 4 folks doing 150?
No, so in the morning between 7 a.m. and 11, I have approximately 7 staff on average to care for 150 animals. In the summer, in the report that I last got showed the average over 2023 was 256 animals per day. Is what we had in the shelter.
And then your staff goes from doing that to running the front desk, is that true? Okay, but what they were doing in the past was they didn't have that, they're pulling up drivers off the street. So they were using drivers off the street to try and help.
Well, can I tell you, it's hard to find folks to do work that's not nearly as hard and emotionally draining then, I can't imagine. What your responsibility is to try to staff that, that's got to be very difficult.
And the budgets.
It's when you have, you consider there are staff that works the shelter and the street, and there's a lot of stuff people are asking of them, there's a lot of work on their plate. So it's,
Yeah, I sympathize. With your position as an administrator and at the ground level. Because as a hospital director, I do it all too, and I can't do 5. So I can't imagine.
What was really an issue was that they were only part-time, they were paying less. And so going full-time, and then part-time they come in and all of a sudden they leave to get a full-time job or a better paying job. And so we encouraged and pushed for a full-time where they'd have benefits and be more, because I think you had a revolving door, they'd hire them, they'd hire. And this would incentivize, but I didn't realize they were gonna drop it down to, okay, now let's go back down to the original 4 because we're going full-time. And so, does anyone else have a thought about the fact that this may need to be corrected by the city? Or would need to go up?
The number needs to go up in every.
Yes.
One of the things that I was referencing in the email that Diana mentioned earlier is the one base thing for care for animals in shelter is for basic needs only, which is what these texts are providing. You need 15 minutes of care per animal per day. So if you take that 256 with an average, that's 8 staff, 8 full-time staff, 8 hours every day to provide that base level 15 minutes of baseline care, according to the Association of Shelter Events. So that's a piece of evidence that you could use in your request to up the number.
We have to I think that we have to make it so that we don't just say, okay, you're gonna triple your budget, because right now I know we're in serious budget issues with the city, but I think that making a motion to increase it to have 6 and not full 9, at least drop it, put it up there, that's not gonna kill that much to find that much more money. And then at the next year, then increase the budget, because the budget's already been set for this coming year. But then, just try to squeeze that in there this year, and then next year, it asks for it.
I make a motion that, just from what he just said, Mr. Walker, that we ask for 8 and then let them whittle it down to 7 or 6. Let's ask what do we need? And let them be the bad guys that didn't want to do it. Our board said that's what they need. Let's go with 8. I make a motion that we go to 8 full-time kennel techs.
Is there a second?
Oh,
All those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, good. Now then, we're gonna go to election of officers. This was supposed to be done a long time ago.
Before we go on,
Oh, I
I have
have
an
that talk.
update on the rescue coordinator and the admin position that's supposed to be added.
Yeah, I think that those positions have not been filled. I do know that they've had. And
Do you have an update on that? Yourself? The rescue coordinator position?
yeah, that position's been hired, the city hasn't announced it yet, but that position's been hired.
Do you know that one more date? That's already,
So the city hasn't announced it yet,
okay, but I mean, do they have one more date?
like I said, no.
Okay, I thought you said they hadn't announced it, but that's different. I don't know the question. So what about the admin person?
I don't have that position. No,
Is there a date for that or a timeline to get that person in?
that's the next one.
Then will we have volunteers? Because we talked about the volunteer portion of that.
Yeah, it's always been something I've been working on since I've been down.
Because that would definitely help with the care.
Any other questions?
But I was just curious about those other 2 positions. Thank you.
I make a motion that we only have 5 people here. Let's wait until we have a full board. I make a motion.
We have 5 people, no, we are gonna do this.
We have a forum.
Yes, I realize that. I make a motion that we wait till we have a full board. That's my motion. So if you guys want to say no, that's fine. It'll
Is
go
there a
on
second
record.
to that motion? No second, the motion dies. Need to make a motion for chairperson.
I make a motion for Ellen.
Is there a second for the motion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Second.
Thank you.
A motion for vice chair, and I'm gonna make that motion for Nancy.
I second.
All those in favor, raise your hand. We have one abstain on that. And I think those are the 2 that we have, because we don't do it, we normally have a secretary, but we don't do the secretarial work.
No,
Because that's being done. Okay, this needs to be done so we can get it over with. We don't know when we're gonna have a full board, hopefully soon.
Hey, Director, you would.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Actually, I think an abstaining is a nay, so I think the same difference, yes, yeah. So they're both the-
The same thing, but you want to be in pay, or you want to abstain,
abstain.
okay? Yeah. Both chair, vice chair.
And I should have said all
Both,
those in
yeah.
favor and all those against. I'm sorry, George, I should have said all those in favor and all those against, and then you could have raised your hand.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, we're gonna go on to old business and Nancy.
okay, last meeting, I gave everybody a copy of the animal control advisory board sheet along with a sheet that had things that I knew just in wording or updating logs or rules or suggestions. I only had one person, you were wrong, so I only had one person that sent anything in. It's updated on the sheet in italics. Since we're going to put obviously add some of the new regulations on the licensing and everything, and since you guys could have a couple minutes to also kind of review this, I'm gonna make a motion that we put this off until the next meeting so that we can update what we know the licensing and how it works, and so that we can be specific. If anybody has any objections, that, or if anybody had anything to add, George, I didn't really think.
Yeah, no, I.
I think that this is, this will help, I think what you were talking about as far as getting information out to the public, okay?
That will be on the animal shelter sites too? Or just the
It'd be posted.
Yeah, and it will be post for, they keep them over there. It hasn't been updated since 2016. And one of the things that we added on the was we're not gonna put statistics at the bottom like we did, because otherwise we have to redo it.
Oh, right.
And so. And
You're
the
gonna be a
statistics
link or they can go
available
to that,
in
to
other
find
places.
the updated, yeah.
And so that was one of the things. So anyway, if anybody has suggestions. For data that you think is important. Then we'll.
I didn't realize it was 2016.
Yeah.
This been old.
Yes.
This was originally put together with the, which is on animal.
Aaron, on the last one, you guys were listed, under the subsidized low cost spay and neuter services. Do you guys still do that?
Yes.
Okay, so we can keep, okay, we'll keep that on. I didn't know. Okay.
Just a little bit of background, this was done to hand out at Woolstock in 2016. We had the board members attend, we had a booth, I wish I had a booth. And we handed these out just to let people know.
So this is actually from 16.
Yes,
But it has
This
been
isn't
updated.
just old data, this is,
this
It
is
was,
twenty
it's an old, it's
sixteen,
an
yeah,
old sheet,
this is,
and there's much things that need to change.
yeah, and so. All I did on this is updated the information that I knew, like there were some wording changes. And stuff like that. And so I just typed, everything that's on here is on. Right.
So, yeah, and this will get.
Some updated. And then if you have any suggestions, you can email me, but you can't email everybody.
Yeah, only,
I got it.
got it.
Okay. And the
great.
same thing.
Okay, then,
So
just,
we have to do a motion.
no, we'll just,
We can just move it.
yeah, we did,
Okay, good.
yeah, defer it till next week. Just a real short update on the KDA. The KDA is still causing us some issues. The latest regulation changes that they put forth were actually worse than the first regulations. Would you agree, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're basically looking at ways to make things more difficult for the animal shelter to take dogs that they think have, I mean, they said, oh yeah, you can do it, but then you have to have all these things in order to get it done, and it's like, you can't get it done. And they are still working with it at the state level. The Kansas Pet Advocates and HSUS is working with the governor's office, and they're having meetings with them. They've had meetings with them. And also, they are I think the session, did the session just start this Monday? I think it did. Session just started this Monday. And so they're working on making sure that, we as a board cannot do anything, okay, but it's an individual we can, because I think that we as a board, that's not our position.
And like, I know our councilman will be up there next week, and my councilman has asked me for information on this, so that when he's up there, he can discuss it.
Okay.
So I don't know why that would be. Because he's asking for me.
Yeah, it would be from you as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, not from someone that's on the advisory board, representing the advisory board. So we're hoping that by the end, or everyone is hoping by the end of this legislative session, that there will be some changes and they will stop going after us, because I'll tell you what, they are going after shelters and they're going after rescues, and rescues are closing down and shelters are actually trying to close down because they can't meet the standards that they want to meet. It's very, very involved. And I would suggest that you, I don't know where we could, I know that if you have any questions, and I can certainly get you in touch with people that can answer, or I can answer, or we can look at that. I don't know if everybody got so you didn't see any of the new regulations, because they really put a lot of stuff on the veterinarians. It was like the veterinarians saying, are you kidding me? We can't do this. We have too much other stuff to do. So it's really tough.
I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
or if I have seen it, I don't remember seeing
You
it.
don't see. I wonder if I can pull it up. No, it's not online. No, it's not online. But so it's still in process. We just an update, and we're hoping to get something done before this, but it's not. So it's into the legislative session, But the KPA, Kansas Pet Advocates, they do have lobbyists. HSUS does, and there is a lobby day in March. I would like to see it earlier, that they may set up where people can go in and see their legislators and try to get their legislators to make changes to loosen up the regulations and what they're doing to the shelters.
So you get a copy of it?
I will. I'll get a copy.
Yeah, and then if she joined the KPA, she would get.
Yeah, there are. Yeah,
We
you
can
can-
send you that.
yeah, get that. I'll get that information. I'll get a copy of it to you if you like that.
Yeah. I'm familiar with KPA, but
Pardon?
I'm unfamiliar with KPA.
KPA.
Yes,
Kansas
so
Pet Advocates.
I'll look them up.
Okay, you're, okay. Well, the KDA is the one that's a problem. Now, I know.
Well, KD,
Yeah,
yes.
KDA is who it is, yeah.
Yeah, the pet advocacy thing, I be made aware. Like to make myself aware.
Okay, good. Yes.
I got a letter or email from Midge, of the site, United States. So I'll be working on trying to get that out to everybody. I need to make a distribution list of the rescues just within Sedgwick County, because that's where she's focusing on. But she's like, here's the first letter for the legislators, and there's a draft letter for everybody, but they suggest that, you know, everybody put something in their own words, but they also suggest that it be sent individually to the legislators. And she's got just a high level, basic, like to begin the conversation, a draft letter for everybody if they would like to use that and then expand upon that. They call out, I don't know, if it's about 4 items, significantly, you know, an unnecessary increase in operating costs for the shelters and rescues, unnecessary red tape, bureaucracy. There's nobody on board to represent the rescues. Anyway, so some of the issues in the conversation, and she is offering that she's willing to speak with any of the rescues by phone, Zoom, or in person, or help coordinate in-person meetings or conversations with the legislators. And she's also given a list here of the updated, all the Wichita and Sedgwick County legislators. So I need to go through all the rescues in Kansas, get a distribution list of just those in Sedgwick County, and then forward this out to them for everybody, for them to take their appropriate action.
And also getting this to where it's not just the rescues, but also individuals, that can contact the legislators, so. And because it is Humane Society that is sponsoring.
This is
March,
from Mitch,
yeah,
right?
the March 4th.
Oh, right,
Not
right.
the KPA.
Right.
Okay,
And anybody that wants to be on distribution for the Kansas Pet Project, we can make that happen, you know, for the meetings, because there's gonna be meetings that they will, well, you're already on, Nancy and Alan, you know, send those to you guys, but I don't know if the rest of you are. I think you attended one, so you maybe. Yeah, they did have you listed, right?
we'll get you.
That you
we'll
can't-
get you-
Give me the information.
Yeah, I'll get you the information. Okay, and then the last item on the agenda is update on the meeting time and place, George.
I just wanted to ask Keely or Zach, what is this? Is this Zoom? Is this, huh?
Yeah, it's
Zoom? Can you do Teams?
I mean, our laptops are already equipped with Microsoft.
Teams?
What are you asking?
Yeah.
Why I'm asking is, I just want, the next, it is the update on meeting time and place. So I've talked with the, transit, director.
Yeah.
And she said they use Teams. So I think you guys don't really want to move yet. I think we're gonna try and make it work here. So we just want to have something out there. She said, yeah, you guys can come. We use Teams.
The problem isn't using Teams, the problem is getting the connection from their teams to YouTube. That's the problem,
Teams doesn't stream to YouTube, Zoom streams to YouTube.
right, that's the problem.
Okay,
City council has voted that you guys will live stream all of your meetings, so we have to do Zoom.
okay.
So the connection that the transit center has is not verified enough to where it could be compatible with Zoom to then be compatible with YouTube to then stream your guys' meeting.
Okay, well, I was just, that's an option, but it doesn't sound like it's an option, so, but it seemed like we were trying to work it, so we were gonna stay here, so, anyhow, so, Captain Purcell, is that correct, or actually, Mr. Walker, you guys are gonna work with us, so if we're here at 6:30 once in a while or something, that you're gonna make it work here, or?
Yeah, I don't think not meeting here had anything to do with anything that came from us.
Well, no, yeah, they closed at 6 and they wanted us out of here, so.
Well, originally you just wanted to start later.
Well, we need, the reason that we did this is that 4 o'clock, sometimes people can't make the 4 o'clock meetings. If we start at 5, which would make it easier for you, for the veterinarian.
Oh, I think, so at some point, the discussion was starting at 5:30 or 6. And at that point, the discussion moved to potentially meeting somewhere else. I hadn't provided any sort of, there was no request to be about whether or not it was okay to be here at that point.
So if we change to 5, let's say 5. And we went to 7, 6 times a year, can you make that happen? I mean, I don't know if Keely and Zach can, but it's 6 times a
I
year.
mean, yeah,
But
it's up to the city and I would use, I mean, I would go. To figure that out.
all right,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Is there any other business, from any districts, anything questionable?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. We have a,
Please address the board, George.
Huh?
Please address the board.
I'm talking
Oh,
to anyone.
go ahead.
But anyhow, I have someone who's had some attacks on her property. And in my humble opinion, and I don't have a doctor's degree or anything, I believe she's got PTSD. And part of it is because we don't have enough animal officers on the street. And we need to make a motion that we get enough animal officers for Captain Purcell and Drew and Ron to do their job successfully. So I've heard a number, Captain Purcell, maybe double the officers if really we want to do the will of the citizens. So I don't know what we want to do about that as a board, but
I would ask Captain Purcell if he thinks that would be appropriate to do at this time, and we're asking for more full-time tail techs, and where do you stand on officers on the field?
I'm gonna stay out of the budgetary stuff.
Pardon?
I'm gonna stay out of the budgetary stuff. We're.
Okay, okay. I think that we need to let that,
Maybe we can bring it up to the next meeting.
yeah, I think so, we can think about that. Because I think,
Do a little research.
Yeah.
into-
I think that we're not gonna get anything done for 2025 because 2025 budget is already set. And they're working on 2026 now. So we can make that probably more when they start to go over that.
and then one last thing, I don't know if you guys see this, if you find any 2015 or 2025 dimes, if you bring them to the March or May meeting, I'd appreciate it, and I'll give you dime for dime. I don't want you to give me 50 dimes and you're out $5. That ain't happening. I'll make you whole again. So 2015, 2025, and trust me, I got something planned for them. So thank you.
Is that legal, George?
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh, second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
I am stating, no.
Sure. Yeah, and I had actually reached out to him, but I hadn't been out. I hadn't.